Okay.
So it totally just screwed up on us. So all those links we just sent out are completely void.
Yeah, they are.
I'm not gonna bother doing another one.
Yes.
So we got one of our friends from PlayStation on here too.
Yep.
Originally the plan was to do like a whole like memorial service, and we're gonna do it on our Conan Exiles server. And I was getting things set up for it, and I says to Roz, I don't think this will work because it's gonna become more about what we did in game to honor the guy than to actually be about him. So last Friday, and it went quick. It started Friday. He started having this hacking cough, and we knew with his heart disease that was like one of the last things. So we went ahead and started talking with like the Humane Society and our vet, and
Everyone.
pretty much everyone to get it set up. And then Thursday afternoon we had him put down. I thought about filming something last week so that he could be in it. He was in pretty good spirits despite
Everything.
But yeah, he was coughing nonstop, which nobody would want to see, and I didn't want to put him through it. So then I considered Thursday afternoon after everything doing it, but I couldn't keep it together enough. And then it just became let's just do it as a live stream, because if I break down live streaming, it's no big deal. If I do it while filming, I feel like I gotta edit it out.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like I might ramble more doing something like that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had this whole big thing. We had taken that house. I did that Conan live stream on. Yeah, you won. We actually did rebuild it online. Roz basically did it because I had to have my PlayStation offline to show it. And we had realized that we'd done all this stuff there, but we never decorated Thor's room. Like, he had a bed in there because that was my spawn point, and like some dressers, and that was it. So we were closing the room off, and I says, well, maybe we should decorate it, and we can put stuff in game that's like, some of it's related to real life, some of it's more related to the game.
Yeah.
So we did that. So we were talking about, so we opened up the back door to it and made it like a memorial. And we had built like a big funeral pyre, and we were going to do like a little ceremony. But it didn't feel right. So just anybody watch this, be like, damn it, I want to see that now instead.
Yeah, no, we might still do that later on, but right now is not quite the right time.
And the thing with that, because it was planned to be a group thing, is like we need other people from our server on.
Yep.
If it's just me by myself or the two of us, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we'll see, maybe in a week, if anybody's interested, or then maybe we'll do it on our own. But we had built a pyre, and in the pyre we put one of the big dog one, the dog carcass.
Yep.
There's a set of, if you've never introduced the Isle of Sipka, there was a couple of dogs they introduced that are like crazy strong.
One of them's name is Thor.
But oddly enough, yeah, they all have default names. They're all like Thor, Apollo, stuff like. The one that was named Thor is not the one we would usually have for Thor. That was actually the one he usually uses Solomon, just to look like Solomon.
Yeah.
And the Thor one, none of them looked like it, so we based it on the stats. The one that had like the most rounded stats, we called Thor. So we put one of those bodies of one of those in the pyre, and a hammer. It's in the game, it's Crom's hammer, but it's Thor. And then I was going to put my character's top that they're wearing. They're wearing this leather jacket. I was going to put that in with them. Because in real life, you'll probably notice we're not dressed up and I'm not wearing my jacket. I asked them if they would wrap Thor in my jacket and cremate him in it. And they said normally that's not something they would do, but they thought it was like an unusual enough a request they would go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So he was actually cremated in my jacket.
Yeah, our Humane Society, bless their hearts, they were amazing. We actually already have him back.
Yeah, we got him Friday because we were talking about doing this Friday, and that's part of why we didn't. Is she calls me before she come put me up from work. She's like, "I have Thor," and I says, "What do you mean you have Thor?" And she's like, "No, they called. His remains were ready, so I went and picked them up." And then when I saw it, it was just like, I don't think I could do it today. The other animals are taking it harder. Like I knew they'd take it hard, but it's been harder than they thought. The cats didn't eat the Thursday night. They didn't eat at all. Callisto ate, but Callisto's like a glutton. Like if I go to feed her and I got like food in my hand, she'll like try and rip it out of my hands.
This is one of the first days that Solomon has acted normal.
Yeah. I'll go. But Callisto ate, but she'll usually scarf her food. She's usually the last one to get fed and the first one to finish. And we fed them at 7, actually we fed them a little earlier. We usually feed them at 7, it's probably like 6:30. And probably about midnight, I noticed she was almost done with her food. It was weird.
Yeah, her and Solomon are usually the first ones done.
And Solomon doesn't eat fast, but he's usually one of the first ones to get his food. So, but so they were like that. But when we got Thor, Solomon seemed really confused, like more so than anyone. So when we came back, we were discussing what to do with Thor's kennel, and my initial thought was just throw it out. And when I went to do it, I was like, I don't think it's old, it's ugly, it smells bad. I can't throw it out. So we just put like his food bowl and his sweaters and stuff in there, and I went to put it in the room upstairs. And Solomon starts freaking out because he thinks Thor's in it. So I'm up on the stairs, and he's like blocking my way, and I open it, and this is here. And I let him smell it, and he smells it, and he sticks his head inside, and he looks so confused because like he could smell Thor, but Thor's not in there. So then I go and I put the thing in the room upstairs, and I close the door, and he's like barking at me and trying to kick the door in because he thinks I just locked Thor in the room.
Yeah.
Eventually I was able to get him to calm down, and then that night Callisto did a thing where she was looking for Thor. So she's got this whole play area set up. It's just like those wire like crate things, you know? Like storage cubes. We just made like a fence out of those.
Yeah.
Like, she can jump it, no problem, but typically she won't. She'll stay in there unless we bring her out, and then when she's had enough of us, she'll let herself back home. So we don't... she doesn't free roam. If we're not here to watch her, she's not out. But if we're home, her dead door, like, it's open right now, she's just sitting in her hutch. But she starts looking around, and then she's got a bunch of little, like, buildings out. Most of them are way too small for her to fit her fat ass in now. She's almost up to 20 pounds, and she's solid. You guys wouldn't believe this. So she's looking around, but she gets on her igloo, and she's standing on the igloo and looking around, and then she gets on the ground, and she's standing on her hind legs, and she kept looking over by where we're sitting and by the coffee table, because
that's where Thor's bed was.
Thor would always lay under the coffee table, so we put his bed down there. We always joked that was his bedroom. I keep forgetting Atreyu's here because we're just rambling.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, listen to these guys talking about their stupid-ass dog. You know? So this is great, though, because we got a guy in here named Atreyu, and we always joke that Thor looked like a tiny Falcor, so... Solomon can be the rock biter. Alright, we're going to pause it?
Not yet.
So Callisto's looking around, and then she was kind of napping, so she didn't see us, but Callisto jumped over the fence, and I thought she was going to come see me. And she goes under the table, and she starts sniffing Thor's bed, looks up at me, she gets this most confused look on her eyes, real slowly hops back to her thing, goes over the fence, kind of sat in her yard for a minute, stood up on her hind legs again, looks around, looks at me, kind of shrugs, goes into her house and lays down. She doesn't do like where she just flops down like rabbits do when they're happy. She's like real slowly kind of just goes. And she just laid there like all night. It was not like her at all. Alright, it's on.
Yep.
And so we figured they're going to take it hard. So that, Friday, the next day, they give us Thor's remains back. And Ross says maybe we should let the animals smell them.
Because I read online when we were trying to find solutions to help Thor about how when animals pass, you're supposed to go and let the other animals in the house smell the remains to make sure that and whatnot.
So So she brings them, got them in this little box. It's on a shelf by my DJ booth. I thought about bringing that up for this, but I'm not going to. But I opened the box and I was like, wow, like even I can smell Thor just opening this tin. So I says, well, we won't let Callisto see the actual bag with his ashes in it, because she might try and eat the bag. So I gave her the bag, and Tiva come over. So she was letting Tive smell it, and I let Callisto smell it.
Smell the tin.
Yeah, she smelled the tin. But when Tive smelled the bag with Thor's actual ashes, he kind of stopped, went like this, leaned in closer, smelled them again for longer, and then did like that little cat headbutt thing to the bag.
Like, hey, that's my buddy, guys.
So that was really kind of sweet. But then Callisto's reaction, even though she didn't know him as long, she smells the tin, kind of tossed her ears about like real violently, which is not a good sign for rabbits. Stuck her whole face in the tin. I heard her take like 3 big sniffs. Pulls her head out, turns to walk into her house because she had come out of it. I went to pet her, and no joke, like if this is my arm, she takes her little arm and goes like this. Doesn't look at me, doesn't just punch my arm, just real slowly kind of shoves my arm away and just goes up into her house and went back to bed. And I don't think we saw her for the rest of the day.
No.
Solomon was the most heartbreaking because we took the actual bag with Thor's actual remains in it and let him sniff it. He kind of had the same reaction as the other two, where he sniffed it, kind of pulled his head back, blinked, leaned in, took one real long sniff, then he started licking the bag. And he licked it twice, and then he just started yowling, and he was like beating his head into the side of the kennel. So I opened his kennel up, and he comes out, and I'm like hugging him and everything, which he is not a huggy dog.
No,
but he was shaking
not.
so much. I said, "Go, let him go," and he's just running circles in the house.
Hey, come on. Come on.
And Roz says, "Maybe you should lock him back up." I said, "No." I said, "He's having a panic attack. He needs to." But he probably ran around in circles for probably 2-3 minutes before he calmed down, and like it was real for him. And that was probably the worst. Like, for Steve to be like, "I miss you, dude, but we're good," and for him and Callisto to both like full on break down, it was just heartbreaking.
Yeah, Solomon was like his bestest buddy.
Yeah, like they didn't always get along because the age difference, but he would try, you know. Like,
yeah,
they would
Solomon
play
always
together.
tried to play with him.
You gotta try a different one. Yeah. All it is your attack pattern, and you.
I know.
So why Puzzle Bobble? As you know, I've got the bub tattoo, and that comes from playing mostly Puzzle Bobble 4 with my sister. Whenever there was something that happened, if I needed to really try and process my emotions or something, I could play like this or the original Bubble Bobble, and it's almost like a meditation for me. So that's why it's why I picked, because we were also discussed doing like any racing game, because Thor liked to sit there and watch those, and he liked to go for drives. And we've been playing that World Rally Car one a lot lately, which he really was into his past couple. I was just playing that, and he just they're watching me. It was like he was going for a drive again. So we considered it, but we wanted something we could both just kind of play and have on in the background when we talked about this. And this just seemed like a good choice. This one, the choice of game was more for me than for the dog, but it also made more sense than doing it on Conan, which we're not even really playing anymore.
Yeah, like
pretty much everybody in our group has moved over to Elder Scrolls. but Conan did it to itself. Like
Conan did
the one update basically bricked it for me, and me being one of like the top 5 active players in the group, I think. Now I can't get on. And then she didn't want to get on because I couldn't get on.
Yeah.
So then everybody just started playing other stuff.
Yeah, that's how I ended up into Fallout.
Yeah, and I tried Fallout for a while. I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'll play off and on with you. But then everybody started playing Elder Scrolls, and I got on that, and I was like, okay, I don't really care for MMOs, but
this is fun.
I'll go with this.
This is fun, and it's actually kind of entertaining.
There was something else we were going to say through called this. Now I don't remember it.
I don't. Oh, did we want to do the announcement about the other two? Because
Yeah, we might as well. So for anybody's like, well, you know, they say once you've you lose an animal, it's best to go get another one almost right, like that can help. Not a chance.
Because we kind of did a dumb thing.
And this is probably why they were willing to break the rules, because they did kind of explain, both our vet and the Humane Society explained that main reason they didn't want to do my jacket was like an environmental thing and they're just not supposed to. And the Humane Society people was like, don't worry, we got this.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, so Roz had thought, since all the animals were paired up except Callisto, and Callisto needed a friend, and they had all these rabbits that were from a hoarding situation from almost a year ago, and they had 2 left. So I says, sure, why not? One more rabbit's not going to kill us. So almost as soon as we had Callisto, we got a second rabbit. Going with the literary names like Solomon and even Thor to an extent, I wanted to keep the name kind of like that. And she's, because Callisto was an albino, I don't remember if I mentioned this in her video, but I did joke that we could call her Elric of Melabunny because it would be funny, and Elric of Melabunny is albino. And it doesn't matter that the character's male and she's not, it's not a big deal with animals. But decided it just didn't fit for her. So we get this other rabbit, a boy. But he's not albino, but he's like a black and white, like a salt and pepper type of a look. And so I was like, we'll use it for him. He's got white in him, and he was kind of sickly, having come from the hoarding situation. He sneezes a lot, and he really likes herbs. And if you've ever read any of the Elric stories, he uses herbs. They call them herbs, but they basically hint that he's using weed. So we figured he'd be Elric, so he got named right away. Well, the Humane Society's just getting all these fucking rabbits, most of them little. They're finding them out in the snow during our 2 big blizzards. They found a pair of dwarf rabbits that were actually bonded, which we had looked at the day we decided to get Elric, and we're like, they're so cute, they'll be out of here in a week. They weren't.
That they weren't out of there in a week, but they were out of there in a month.
But then they got this little lion head that she just fell in love with. So we went to check her out, and then they had this one here. So we were talking about getting a 3rd rabbit, and we ended up with 2. Because this one just fucking spoke to me somehow. So we've actually had 4 here all along.
This is Miss Pomona.
So
Persephone is way, way in the back.
And she doesn't like to get her hands touched or her feet touched. So
No.
picking her up is a bear.
Yes.
She looks, for anybody who's been on my channel, or if you all remember my old rabbit bunny, they used to hang out with Thor. It looks like her, but she looks like him, but a little less black. But she's a black and white. She jump in there?
She jumped in there, but she jumped in there the bad way.
I don't worry about it. So we've been with them. They've only been here, what, like 2 months? Maybe 3?
About going on 3.
So they didn't really have that same connection with Thor. Persephone, I think, is technically the youngest because we know she's been getting bigger, so we think she was like a baby. You can't be up there, dude.
You are not very nice when you're on the couch.
So, yeah, there's not going to be another animal because there were 8, and now we're down to 7, and 7's good. We're just going to let it die down on its own, so to speak.
Ow. 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 You're hurting me. You're hurting me. You're punching me.
Well, yeah, Solomon we had to get like we got some dog CBD oil for Thor.
To go and help him get through.
And so, but we were using it with Solomon because then Thor was really calm and Solomon was wanting a place where we're giving it. So we've been letting him finish off the bottle slowly to help him.
Yeah.
He also got fixed about a month ago, so he's way calmer than what he was.
Stop, you dork. Stop. I don't want to be scratched up.
We were talking all weekend, like we had discussed doing this yesterday, like Thursday, Friday, but even yesterday, we were not sober on like every level.
No.
I'm not much of a drink. Like the worst I've probably gotten drunk in recent history was that stream I did for my buddy Patrick like 3 years ago where I got totally shit-faced on camera.
No, thank you.
And I'd ended it. Well, went and slept it off, woke up, was fine. Yesterday I actually woke up puking. Like I was that hungover. So, It has been weird, to put it in a. I'm just gonna let this play out because it's weird having it not go. Oops. But yeah, I think that's the thing. It's been weird more because the past 3 years he's been so sick, and like he has his moments, but he mostly just nap under that table. That we're saying like the house, nothing's different.
But everything's different.
Like there was a presence to it, just it feels different.
Yeah.
And it's like he's not the first animal I've had to bury, not even close, and it hurts the most.
Shortly after we moved into this place, we actually had to bury my one cat.
And her and Thor were real good, but like whenever I go visit her when she was in Iowa, she had the 10 cats for a while, but it's him, Teve, and Stripe would hang out together.
Yep. They were all buddies.
Occasionally Storm.
Yep.
Oops. Oh well.
I liked her better.
See, there's a whole other set you gotta unlock. So, funny thing about these games, if you were to buy these on the original PlayStation, you'd find 2 and 4, but you wouldn't find 3. Because they released 3 as Bust a Move 99. We released 2 and 4, but somebody else released 3. But by the time Natsumi had put 4 out, and the other company went to put 3 out, like 4 was already out.
I don't even care. I'm just putting bubbles in places.
So they called 3 Bust a Move 99 to try to hide the fact that it was an older game. But it's like anybody who likes this type of game, they wouldn't have cared. Well, I have 4, but I didn't have 3. I want more of this, and I've already played all the part. Like, I'll buy 3. Like, why would you not? That was kind of a stupid decision.
Oh, that got her attention.
Oh, you threw the chopstick.
I threw her the unused chopsticks. Well, we have found that wood is their best friend, and
you should see.
Chopsticks are awesome.
One guy I talked to on Facebook, and he's on here, Sean Vincent. You should see him play this. I mean, he's got all his world records for. But it's like pop, 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 pop. You're just like, what the fuck? That guy's a freaking wizard.
I imagine. I am not. I'm just some sort of like.
Because me and my sisters play this. I was playing this at arcade in Japan. I was doing a single player, and Sean was with me. Obviously, different Sean, but yeah. And I know too many Seans and too many Jameses. We're playing. I think I put 1 quarter, and I probably did. I went through the single player, and I got like from letter A to like M or N before I was like 1 quarter. And Sean was like, "Damn, you do play this a lot." It's like, yeah, but I'm probably not getting any further than this. So, the other things we're doing, like I was working on some DJing. I was working on this. I've been working on a set for a while. It's an all birthday massacre mix, which seems insane. Why would you mix one band with itself? But and I had been working on that last Friday when Thor took a turn for the worst, and I just couldn't. I put the music on. I was like, this is definitely the time to listen to this, because I've always said, like, if there were a soundtrack to my life, that would be the band I'd want to do it. Like, not just their music, even the imagery, like their album covers, like the way everything's colored and everything. You know how your memories are kind of hazy? Mm-hmm. That's how things look to me in my memories. That like purple, white, and black that they always do. So
yeah.
But the other half of this story is that last Friday, when Thor did take a turn for the worst, it would have been my mother's 72nd birthday. But it was also the 20th anniversary of the day I went to boot camp. So it was like a really big day, and then for the dog to basically take a turn for, and you knew he was going to die on that date. It hit really hard. It was like legit end of an era type of a thing. Like the last 20, like the first 18 years of my life and the last 20 years actually having an exact like start and end date. It's fucking nuts to think about. And now I got to go into the next 20 without like the last connection to everything before is just gone, and that's weird. And prior to that, we had gotten word that my childhood babysitter, who I'd mentioned on this channel before, was basically like a second mother to me, had passed away at her funeral. It was like the Friday before all of this. I just couldn't make it out to Iowa to go to that. But, so it's been a crazy couple of weeks just in that regard. Like everything just kind of changed over, not quite overnight, but pretty damn close. Who do you think's gonna win this one?
You?
I think we're gonna call it after this game though, because I think I've said everything I need to say. Yeah, I considered doing a video for him, and I still might. We actually went through Thursday night. We're watching some of the old videos that he and I did, and most of it was like a lot of fun. Like watch us playing board games. When we did the short film Dune Walker, I had to turn it off. I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite memories, was going out that day. We needed like the perfect weather, and we knew we'd be out there all day, and it ended up being like, I think it was like a Friday right after work or something, and it ended up being out there all day. So I didn't sleep for 3 days working on that stupid thing.
This past Friday, I had to go and take off work early, which is why I was able to pick you up from work.
Yeah, I was planning on walking home. She's like, I'm home. I'll come pick you up. Also, I have Thor. It's like, what do you mean you have Thor?
Yeah, no, I happen to have to work at a doggy daycare. I won't say which one because privacy reasons. But it really hit hard on Friday, and my work was very gracious and gave plenty of time to allow space for grieving. I'm
like,
doing really well for
you were. I'm like, I might be able to get out of this, but it's not even worth it.
But yeah, no, I think that's everything. You might see a new face in some of our videos besides the rabbits. There'll probably be more pictures of Persephone around than anything, unless we can get her to come out more often.
Oh, and it's like I had the idea for that. So I picked up this board game. I wanted this for a while. It's called Bunny Kingdom. And I picked it up like right before the pandemic. Like right as things were going on lockdown, I went over to the game board and picked it up and messed around with it. And I was like, had this idea for a video. It was going to be me, Thor, and obviously Bunny. And then Bunny passed away like right before we moved in here, actually. So we couldn't shoot. Now it's like, well, now I got 4 fucking rabbits. Now I can really... We had come up with a couple ways of doing it to introduce the other 3. And it's just... None of them were going to... It would have been too much work, honestly, like, for what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
And... So funny thing, Callisto and Elric, we introduced them like right when we brought Elric home. Was like, let's just introduce him. We set Bunny's old cage up and everything for him,
Just in case there was issues.
and they hit it off so well right from the start that they ended up being in Callisto's big cage together that night because he didn't want to be alone. He was like throwing the biggest tantrum of being left alone. So later on, we realized, we figured he's at least partially blind because his eyes are always dilated. His pupils never change. And we realized he doesn't seem to see too well, but he'd follow Callisto, and a lot of times, like when they're eating, like if we put the food in a bowl, she'll go and like lean against the bowl, and he'll come find her and like rub against her like this until he can find the food. And then she'll just sit there and he'll eat next to her. So we realized, oh, he probably doesn't see so well. But with the way we got the lighting in this room now, it actually works. He's doing pretty good. He's been a lot more active.
Yeah, he's...
So we think Callisto's just really protective of him. So then we bring these 2 other females in, which we figured was going to be problems, but almost right like the first... Persephone came home first because she had been spayed. They hadn't spayed Pomona yet. They actually let us take her home the day they did the surgery, though.
Both of them.
Yeah, because we're like, I can wait. They're like, still lay around. It might as well be at your place. But we let him... Callisto and Pomona's first interaction, they sniffed each other, and that was kind of it. But then she went and sniffed Elric, and then she mounted Elric and started humping him. And Callisto...
That was Persephone, yep.
And Callisto was like, nah, that's my man, that ain't happening. And it wasn't like a fight, but it was not...
It was not pleasant.
No, like... But, so I was like, okay, that's fine. And so their cages, Persephone's actually in Callisto's old cage, and we got one of those big wooden, like 2-story ones for Callisto, and I reckon we set that play area up for them.
That they have a whole yard. Sorry, Solomon might be getting loud.
Yeah, we put him up.
He was being put up because he was getting very bitey.
But there's an area where they kind of overlap, and Callisto will jump up there now. She's been doing this more and more lately. She'll jump up there and kind of hang out next to Persephone. And there's little spats, but they're like, I don't break them because they're not like. It'll be like one of them will hit the other one, and the other one will back off, and then they'll get up and smell each other and lay down and repeat. So I'm just like, okay, they're doing their thing. I'm gonna let them do it. Pomona, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because Callisto and Pomona both seem to have kind of a, I don't want to say like alpha rabbit personality because it's not a thing, but I guess that's the best way to describe it. I don't think they're ever going to get along.
No.
Like there was a day we'd swapping them around for a bit, and Pomona was in the play area minding her, like way in the back at that, minding her own business. And Callisto was over here, and suddenly just goes running over, jumps the fence, starts punching her. I went to pull her off, and when it's pulled off, she actually bit into Pomona, and like I couldn't separate them because her teeth were in there so bad.
Yeah. So, that was the only instance of any issues that we've had.
But the few times they've gotten close enough for anything like that, it's not been anywhere near that bad. So it might take some time, but
yeah.
So all 4 of them in one video together is not going to happen.
Not anytime soon, at least.
So, but that was why we said about the Humane Society maybe doing us a solid, because when we actually went in to talk to them about Thor, we walked in, they looked up at us and went, "How are the rabbits?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, we've adopted 5 animals there in the past year, 4 of which were the rabbits they couldn't get rid of.
Because somebody else you haven't seen as much, because she is a very shy little one, is our other cat, Jasmine.
Who, oddly enough, was the only one who she didn't want to smell Thor's remains. And that's fine.
Yeah, she...
Well, no, Ulrich didn't either, but...
She kind of keeps to herself for the most part. She plays with Steve and sometimes Solomon.
She would get along with Thor. Oddly enough, the last night, Wednesday night, because Thor will sometimes he'd move more towards the couch at night if I was sleeping on the couch.
They have been sleeping right in front of the couch.
Usually Thor would be right in the middle or right more on Roz's side. When he comes over in the middle, and then Steve came and laid down next to him. It's like, okay, that's not too unusual. And then Jasmine joined him, and I'm like all 3 of them. Like if Solomon were just there, it'd be perfect. Like. And
then later on, they all moved into the same area and snuggled together.
And it's like why couldn't they have been like this all along?
Mm-hmm.
But occasionally Teeth would, and once in a while Jasmine would go and lay next to Thor. So it did happen once in a while, but it's never been all 3 of them.
Solomon, you are just fine, my baby.
So yeah, I think we're gonna end it after this round. Then we'll play this one out, and I actually feel a lot better saying something. It is weird though, because like I always joke that I wasn't gonna miss him screaming when he's in his kennel because he hates being alone, even though there's 7 other animals in here. And I come walking up to the house like the next day after work, and I'm like, I don't hear him. And then even though I knew he was there, I came in, walked right over to where his kennel would be, went to open it. It's like, oh yes. Or like last night I was passing out treats and I grabbed a couple of those little milk bones and tossed them under the table, and it's like, oh yeah, he's not there. That's fucking weird.
Yeah, no, to anyone who watches this, it's been 35 minutes of us rambling about Mr. Thor, the Thor man, Thorsies.
14 years, man. Almost 14 years.
No, almost 15.
No, he was 13. He was born in 2009.
He was born in 2009?
Yeah, 14.
14?
Let's see who's will fill up first. We'll do yours. I'll go to the side. Ha! Alright, I think we're just going to go ahead and end this.
Yep.
So, yeah, there was like nobody on here though. That's fine.
Yeah.
The fact that we had to reset it didn't help.
No.
So, yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll do a memorial video for him later. I don't know.
We'll see. What
I have his jacket. He took mine. I've been using it on Callisto because she likes to wander around. So we've been using it, like not walking her, but she's on a leash in the house, so she's not getting too far away. But she's actually big enough it won't fit her, and strong enough that she'll rip it. Like now, I gotta see if I can coax her on here. She's a beast.
She is a little beast.
I'm gonna attack me if I try and pull her out. I know, you're all snuggled with your husband.
Her husband.
I mean, look at her. Like, you can see how ripped she is. Like,
That's a rat.
I could enter her in Miss Olympia. Probably win. She came in second. She'd probably just kick the shit out of the other competitors. Go ahead, girl. You can go. You can stay here, too. I don't care. You want up? Nope, she's going home.
Or
Maybe.
we're going exploring. Nope, we're going home.
But yeah, she's right between 15 and 18 pounds now. But it's funny, we're joking, because her and Elric are about the same size. I'll probably get him out. I can introduce you to Elric. You're going to bite me, but I'm wearing a thick shirt.
Hi, Callisto.
So despite the fact that they're almost the same size, well, actually he's noticeably smaller than her now. But when we first got him, they were both around 10 pounds. And very different when you like she's solid and he's squishy.
He's like mashed potatoes.
That was a joke. She's a baked potato and he's a mashed potato. All right. Yeah, you can go, dude. I don't know if he'll jump over the fence or not, but
I don't think he jumps over fences yet. I say yet because he might learn.
if he wants to go over there, he might, but we'll see. If not, I'll just pick him up.
I think he needs help.
You want some help, dude? Oh, she came up to guide him. Yeah, there you go. We thought he might be part lop at first because he always had his ears down like Pomona's. And it was a muscle thing. We realized once he's been able to be out more and he's been using his ears, they're perked up a lot more, so that's pretty cool. So, yeah, we're going to get out of here.
Yep.
Thanks for watching if anybody bothers to come back to this.